broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hola, buenvenidos! Welcome to the Switch to Birth AFTERBUZZ after show. I was trying to do Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, guys. Bueno, welcome! If you have not already, go to youtube.com/AFTERBUZZ TV. Hit subscribe. Also, iTunes, look for AFTERBUZZ. Hit subscribe. SoundCloud, again, subscribe. That's what you want to do. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. We have a special guest with us today. That's right, Michele Weaver!
Hey! Hi!
Who you all may recognize from tonight's episode.
Yes, well, yesterday's
Yesterday's
episode.
In my head, it's today. And Hannah's here, too.
Hey, guys, what's up?
During the show, you can tweet at us using hashtag ABTV Switch to Birth. And we have the live chat is up and going, and we've got the voice of the live chat.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
So please send me your questions through the live chat, and I will chime in whenever I can.
Heck yeah. Also, you can tweet at me during the show at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. Michele, why don't you tell them where they can tweet at you?
Oh, you can tweet me at ELE Weaver.
And you all can tweet at me at the Hotshot Dude.
Excellent. Let's jump into this episode.
I know, it's a great tag.
It's ridiculous. We want to start with Bay and Travis.
Yes.
Right? Because the big reveal of Travis's story.
This didn't shock me, though, at all. Because when we first were introduced to his character, he had all those issues with his family.
Right.
And, no, I never thought it had to do with, sexual abuse. But now bringing this in, it can make sense also why he had so many issues with his family, because they never knew that a family friend had sexually done things with him. What's the right terminology?
Abuse?
Sexual abuse.
Assault?
Yes.
Negatives?
sure.
I mean, here's the thing. So when the Bay situation was first revealed and Travis had to, we saw Travis dealing with his guilt about what happened to her. That was a very interesting storyline, and that was a very interesting place to go.
Yeah.
But to go to this other story where it turns out that it brought up these ideas.
Yeah.
That oh wait, I remember now this happened to me.
Right.
Which first off, Bay needs therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
I was thinking about that, actually.
Especially when she's
both
in
of them.
Yeah. She's in the school, and we have people like Felicity, is it?
Yes.
Felicity?
Yes, her character does have a name, you all.
Yes.
Guys, Felicity's the new Vimla. I'm so excited. Yeah. Oh, Vimla.
Oh, Vimla.
I mean, that said, I didn't want to punch Felicity in the face, whereas I did with Vimla.
You were still sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't know. She was behind me.
Dude Man was more rude, I felt
he
than
was
you
so
were.
rude.
Yeah. He's kind of rude, but it's okay. Not in real life.
He was really cool.
Yeah, he's actually really cool.
So before we get into that whole story, I want to ask, do you speak Spanish?
No, I don't.
Did you learn any Spanish that day?
Not that I remember.
I forgot that they were in Spanish class. I'm like, wow, what'd she have?
That's why I started the show in Spanish.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either.
I didn't catch that, actually, and I'm actually really kind of disappointed in myself.
I'm really disappointed in everybody now.
Well, now I'm really pleased that you did it. So.
Hola.
Hola.
Yep, you would have gotten an A, yeah.
Thanks. I took Spanish for 3 years. I don't know any Spanish.
I did too, and I didn't learn a single word.
That said, from this episode, I learned ayudar.
Which is?
To help?
Oh.
She said it like 15 times.
I wasn't even listening in class.
You were thinking about your line, weren't you? Yeah, that's exactly what you were doing.
Tell us your line. Say it again.
Oh my gosh, you know what?
You don't remember.
I don't remember. It's because of that girl who got raped in the deaf dorm.
Yay!
Yay! Nailed it.
Thank you. Thank
Beautiful.
you. Round of applause for that one line. Woo!
Yeah. As the voice of the chat roll, I'm assuming that means the chat roll is also applauding.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Yay.
They're like, you're at a different time. We don't know. No.
That's true. We are at a special time, guys.
Yeah.
That was just so
Yeah. That whole experience in the class was like very awkward, and then it going into her being at the stadium, standing in line, which is awful because those people actually weren't talking about her, but because she's so in her head right now.
Right, which kind of just shows you even like the struggles that you go through, like when trauma happens to you, it's like you start to create this almost different world as well, because like you don't know how to talk about it.
Exactly.
And then even like Travis, like one thing about him coming open about that is I'm sure that happens a lot to deaf children, because they don't speak up about it.
Which is something that I was really excited about the path we were on before when we were dealing with his guilt, and now that they bring this up, I don't want to deal with, this is going to sound really weird, but I don't want to deal with his abuse. I would like to tackle the topic of the abuse of deaf children.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That's such an interesting thing that this show is bringing light to.
Because it's awful, but when he said it happens to many deaf kids, I'm sure that's true because those attackers know that those kids can't speak up about it.
Right.
It's awful. And then not only just speak up about it during the time, but like in moments when he thought those kids were talking about Bay, he even said, I don't know what they were saying to you, but it looked bad.
Right.
Right. I forgot about that.
Oh, which is awful. And I didn't think about that either. And I was like, to just assume by somebody's body language in a situation that something bad was occurring or being said, because he couldn't read their lips, but just their body language.
And I mean, she also she had no idea what they were saying and assumed, which is why, guys, why is no one in therapy? Like, this thing happened, why is it she needs counseling?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. They both do. And there should be a staff in the college where she can go and get counseling, right?
But she's
some
not
sort of support group.
She's not a student there.
She's just taking a class.
She's taking a class. That's the other really interesting thing, especially when we get to Melody, and we will get there. But like, that everyone's all upset because something happened. She's not a student there. She is a kid who was there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's weird to me though too, because then why there's so much talk about this and she's not even a student there, which I understand it's something that happened there, but it's just, I don't know, for everybody to know who she is.
She doesn't even go here. Sorry, guys.
But that's the thing though, you just assume whoever's on the campus goes there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different people, you would just assume that if she's in the dorm, like, you know.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I wonder if it is.
Yeah.
Oh, what an episode.
I don't know. College life. Sometimes.
Before we will go back and talk about Felicity some more, I need to take a moment to thank our fans for listening.
Oh, yes.
This is going to be one of the few times, because I'm going to thank you guys a handful of times. Thank you guys so much. I don't know if you're aware, this show is free, right? Like, you're watching it for free. You're listening for free. We do this for you for free, because we have amazing sponsors, just like Casper. Guys, Casper is a online retailer of premium mattresses.
Aww.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
Which made me, this is going to sound real silly, made me think about Dingo, right? They probably need a new mattress at this point. Dorm mattresses are awful. Daphne and Mingo probably need a new mattress. And if they go to Casper.com/AFTERBUZZ. That's right, AFTERBUZZ. They can get $50 towards a new mattress. And this is my favorite part about this. The mattress, you can get a risk-free trial, 100 days of the mattress. No hassle return.
That's amazing.
Free delivery.
Whoa, that's actually really awesome.
Really amazing.
It's the greatest thing ever, especially because if you remember when you were little and you went to school, like the first 100 days, the 100th day you did like some art project. I don't know if people did that. It was just my school when you were in elementary school.
Your school.
Whatever. We celebrated the 100th day. And it was like February. It's so, 100 days is a lot.
It is.
It's like a third of the year, a little bit less than.
That's
huge.
That's
huge.
Great.
So be sure to go to Casper.com/AFTERBUZZ and get yourself $50 towards any mattress purchase. Those are the words I'm looking for.
Which any help on a mattress is a lot of help because those things are expensive.
Yeah.
Right. And you need a good one.
And maybe Felicity wouldn't be such a jerk if she had a new mattress.
If I had some sleep, you guys.
Well, I have to say, I kept wondering at the end when Mary Beth was talking about her friend in the dorm or whatever that heard that she was friends, I was like, could it be Felicity? Or could it be the other chick, the other girl who like stopped her walking out of Spanish class?
Yeah, I appreciate you talking about it.
And she kind of like brushed her off.
So it looks like at the end of the episode, Bay is turning into the girl that she met when she was assaulted, who was like, speak up and go to this rally and blah, blah, blah. ridiculousness.
Well, I do like, though, that if she's not going to therapy and getting help herself, I feel like she's hitting a point, though, where she realizes, after Travis came to her, I feel like it made her realize that she should speak up and help other people about it. So I liked the idea that she is going to start taking emails from people who have gone through similar situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good because the biggest problem is that you feel like you're alone going through these situations.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
And I'm hoping with them bringing this back up and Travis having gone through the same thing, that we'll eventually get back to Tank. I still want to know what's going on with Tank now that all of this has transpired.
That's an excellent question. We have some comments in the
We
chat.
do have some comments in the chat. So Amy Sanders said,
Hey, Amy.
if Tank had not been expelled, then maybe Bae could be angry at Tank, but so far she hasn't been able to get angry at Tank. And Audrey O said, Yael, when I saw the direction they were taking, I was hoping that SVU would make some episode regarding sexual abuse on deaf kids, as I feel that it is a great and exciting subject. And also, everybody in the chat has said they also had the 100th day thing.
Yeah,
so far.
guys, what weird schools did you go to?
have that.
I don't remember
Elementary school, you'd bring like pasta and make a thing that said 100. It was stupid. Anyway,
What?
I don't know.
never had that. I feel like I
Me
missed
either.
out on my
Did you do
childhood.
it? Voice?
I did.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Where
Sorry.
are we from?
I went to an independent school. Was that what it was? Like a public school?
I went to public school.
Yeah, Amy also agrees that Bae does need counseling. She was trying to defend Tank to that girl who was putting him down. She needs to figure out how she feels about everything.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's really what this whole situation is. It's complicated. Yeah, it's complicated, but you need to figure out how you feel, especially after that chat with Catherine, that it's your story and your experience, and that was a weird conversation.
Yeah, that was weird with her mom, too. Like, I don't know, but it's good, though, for her not to be afraid and hide.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the mom didn't know
Either. Yeah.
I think, and that kind of just shows you even, like, how this issue is actually a really serious one.
And it affects everybody.
It affects everyone. It really does.
And nobody knows how to deal with the situation.
Nobody really knows.
I want to talk
Somebody
about
does.
Felicity. I want to talk
yes.
about how you became Felicity.
How I became Felicity.
I mean, at least you didn't get a perm and chop off your hair. That was a Felicity reference for those who are old enough to know it. You and your Dawson's Creek references.
Well, gotta throw it back sometimes.
No, I do know that reference.
Great.
You have to keep the curly hair,
Yeah.
You mean process even like getting onto the show as like an actress and everything?
Right.
Well, actually, I was in the audition room and I was telling Hannah earlier, and the casting director said I overheard her talking, and she was saying there was like 2,000 submissions. As an actor, you get submitted for auditions, and for these roles, it was about 3 or 4 roles that each person went in and read for. The girl who was at the rally who talked about her boots.
Yep.
My character in the classroom. Also, the girl in the red jacket afterwards. And so we all auditioned for like all of them, and then they picked from there. But there was about 70 people who auditioned for it, and then they picked from there. So it's kind of crazy how many for just one line that you see me in the show. They're very they have a very intense process for everything, but
Whatever you did with that one line
Was magic.
nailed it.
it was so much fun. The cast and crew, they're amazing on that set, and you can tell those actors are so talented to be able to sign and act and bring all this to life. So it was great.
Were a lot of people signing on the set?
Not as much as like I expected, but everything was good. And I was talking to Canon BK, and she was talking about how like she started learning signing and everything for her role as well, and like all that. So
Are
it's
people
interesting.
in her family deaf? Did she say that?
She has friends who were deaf.
Okay.
So she learned through some friends as well as while she was acting on set, and they do have a sign specialist on set too.
Yeah.
Nice.
So makes sense. Got to do it right.
Yeah, chat roll.
We have a question from the chat roll. It's from Andy. I think Emmett being here is here in this difficult time in her life would really help. What does the panel think?
I would agree because I really missed him this episode.
No. Emmett would be a pain in the butt during this situation.
Well, if he was being appropriate, he'd be great.
No, but because he's mad at her because he still blames her.
Right. And then sometimes I feel like, ex-boyfriends, when this happens too, they get kind of like defensive and guilty too. They feel guilty, kind of like.
He would have done a
True,
Travis
but I want
thing.
him back. Okay?
I know, everybody loves him.
I want him back.
Just come back.
And I will say, I think that this episode definitively stopped the Bae Travis thing that people were shipping. I don't think that that's going to happen anymore. I think now they're going to become the closest of friends, but that
Agreed.
it's not going to cross any relationship. Like, calm down.
Thank you. I hated that whole Travis Bae thing.
Oh yeah,
Everybody thinks that's going to be a thing now.
Not
it is
anymore.
not going to be a thing.
It was a cute thing last episode. This episode, I'm like, oh, they're both, going through this together.
Yes.
right.
That's not that's not how you set up a relationship.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you set up relationships that way, but
Yeah, it's true. But then, like, once you fix those problems, you're like, oh, I actually don't have anything in common with you.
I mean, yeah, you both need therapy, not each other.
You used each other as your therapy, which was not right, and now you're going to need therapy from this relationship as well.
Right?
It's okay. Amy agrees with you, Hannah.
Yes.
That she wants Emmett back too. She's dying without
He's
him.
coming back. He's coming back, guys. It's not like
he has to come back,
Yeah.
Right?
eventually.
Yeah, they're meant to be. They're meant to be. Okay, let's move on to Dingo. Because I got real frustrated this episode. So, all right. Mingo is our dumb, hot friend who apparently isn't dumb. He doesn't put the effort in. And I kind of get that. I was that way in college.
I was too.
I was like, no, I get A's in class I care about. And I pass the classes I don't. That's
Exactly.
I'm an
That's
awful
exactly
person.
how I was. You were a good student, weren't you?
Well, I was at first, and then I started to be influenced by people like you.
I'm a bad influence, and I'm great at influencing. That's what matters. But so he's trying to figure things out, and their relationship seems to be relationship-y, which is a surprise because I thought this wasn't going to work out.
No, I think this is going to be really good. I think this is a good relationship for her. I actually think this is going to be a relationship of the show and really blossom.
I mean, I don't mind because he's good looking.
He's great looking.
He's so pretty.
He's great looking, and I feel like as more episodes he shows up in, his character is progressing from coming off as kind of dumb to melting into this sincere character that we don't have all the answers.
He's having layers.
Yeah,
Right,
and
layers.
I think the actor's doing a great job of bleeding that in.
He
over
could be
time.
shirtless more.
Oh, all the time.
Well, I mean,
He can
you can always be more shirtless.
Yeah, exactly.
So in this episode, we have the most really interesting and complicated conversation that we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so Daphne says, when we're talking about Lily and Toby's baby, which we'll get to, that life being deaf is not harder.
Right.
It just takes adjustments. And I know that I look at this and I think, as a hearing person, I look at this from my perspective and say, I think those adjustments make life harder. The fact that you have to make adjustments. And I would relate that to, I would equate it to, because when I was studying ASL, it was a lot of discussions about how being deaf, it's just like you don't know the language.
Right.
And so if you apply that, then yes, if I were to come to the US and not speak English, and I had to make adjustments, thus life is harder. That is my perspective on this.
And that's how I felt about it too. And I thought in that conversation with Mingo, I always want to say Dingo because I just like that ship name.
Yeah.
But in that conversation with Mingo, and him almost just accepting defeat with her on how he felt about it, I don't know. I just thought I thought it was really interesting because he couldn't explain to her that it's not bad that he thinks life is more difficult for her. It's just he cares and wants it to be easier for her.
Right.
And I understood where she was coming from, but I wondered, and everybody can answer this for us, but I wondered if her being so headstrong about it not being more difficult was more so just her not wanting to accept, on top of being deaf and her having to make those adjustments, that people see her life as more difficult in a sense of pity or, you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. It's very interesting because we were even talking about that last night as we were watching the show, and I kind of was with her. I was like, yeah, it's just different. It's not necessarily harder, but then, even hearing you guys, as people who hear, we know the difference between, if we were to lose hearing at this point, we would completely see the difference.
Right.
But if you have most of your life not heard, you don't see the difference.
Yeah.
You can't, it's almost like you can't understand what you're missing out on.
Absolutely.
So it's a very interesting topic. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
So we, as a hearing panel, don't have the perspective of someone who is deaf. So
Right.
I made a video, and we're going to show it. There's no sound for those who are listening to the audio, so we're going to talk over it. And those watching it, there's no sound, so don't worry about it. So we're going to play that video right now. And it is me asking, we can hit play. It is me asking if there's anyone who is deaf who watches Switched at Birth. I want to know what you think. I want to know if you agree with Daphne, if you agree with us. That's what I want to know. That's what I'm asking. This is me signing. I'm real embarrassed, guys.
You're great.
Nope, I'm super nervous.
It's wonderful.
So, yeah, at this point I'm saying, are you deaf? Are you watching Switched at Birth? Tell us what you think. We know what Daphne says. Email me at tv.yael@gmail.com. That's right. That's me misspelling my name. That's me respelling it. Yep, that's right. Yeah. And for those who think it looks weird, it's because I sign left. That's right. I'm a left-handed person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so
I've never thought about that. Is that like a whole...
I mean, you sign the same way, just left.
But lead with like one hand then?
Yeah, you lead with your left.
That's really interesting. I guess I never thought about that because I figured it would all be...
I mean, I never noticed
same.
until I watched someone sign left and went, they look weird, and then realized that's what I look like.
Interesting.
So, yeah, so that is a request that is out there to anyone who is deaf and watches the show.
Yeah. I know. I want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
email me and we'll share it on the next episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so is there anything else we want to say about Dingo? I mean, he learns sign language at the end, and he says, be patient with me.
Oh, which was so cute.
Yeah, I think it's
Whatever.
actually... I think it's kind of cool that we get to know this person, you know?
Yeah,
They're
I completely agree.
really allowing us to look into this person. So it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool.
I think it's going to be cool too. And I think it's going to be cool to watch him, I don't know, try to understand her more and I don't know. I'm intrigued to see the way this conversation continues to unfold because I don't think it's going to be the last of this conversation.
Yeah.
She still seems uneasy. Like when she was talking to her mom and was like, does it get easier? Does it? You know, asking those questions. She seemed like she already had apprehensions about, or not apprehensions, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but she already had some worries about what he may think or how the relationship is going to go because of this.
Yeah. Anything from the chat roll about Dingo?
No, they're mostly talking about Daphne at the moment
Right.
in here. So, but Amy Sanders says I am hearing, but I agree 100% with Daphne.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Cool.
That's kind of what I was too.
Yeah. How interesting.
Yeah.
All right, before we get into Melody's drama and the Kennish funding, that's what I'm
I
calling it.
hate this topic.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
But before we
I
get
do.
there, I want to take a moment again to thank our fans. Guys, thank you. We clearly love doing the show, and we clearly do this for you guys. So go to iTunes, give us a rating and a review, and I promised we would read your reviews, and we'll do that next week.
Yeah, this is my fault, kind of.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to look up the iTunes reviews. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you will? Yeah. Okay, so we'll look them up. That's why
While
we
I'm-
have the voice of...
I was trying to see. Oh, Boo69B says I still think that Dingo isn't gonna last. Sorry.
Oh, boo. So here's when we first met Mingo, while she's looking up iTunes reviews, when we first met Mingo, I was like, oh, this is going to be a little fling.
No.
And then I think because he's so handsome, we've decided to keep him and give him layers.
I don't think that. Because especially when you go to college, I'm sorry, I'm doing a Dawson's Creek throwback again. Oh, no. And I don't really care. But there is always going to be that troubled relationship that ends up blossoming into something more than an audience ever anticipates. It always happens. And they needed to do it for this show. And especially because Daphne is the one that's very, like, you know, smart, good student, in her head. Naturally, it's going to be her that dates the guy who is kind of like...
A slacker.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're going to kind of change each other, and it's going to be beautiful, and then they're going to have drama about it because they changed for each other, and then we're going to be rooting for them. It's going to be like a Pacey Joey.
Opposites do attract.
Yeah.
That's all you're going to add to that?
That's all I'm
I'm
gonna
stoked
add.
about it.
Opposites attract.
I totally think Dingo is going to mess up at some point. Absolutely. I think he's going to mess up.
Oh,
But
of course he's going to mess up.
We all mess up.
yeah, I think he's totally going to mess up, do something he shouldn't have done, but, you know.
I'm trying to think back on people she's dated, and I love that her mom points out that, like, he's not your boss, he's not your coworker,
Right.
like, it's already a benefit.
It's true, though. Like, he should be messing up in college. Like, she should be dating a guy who is struggling through college and
Yeah.
doesn't have all the answers and is kind of confused and acting like a dummy
Whatever, I miss
around
Chef.
people. Chef was a
Chef
looker.
Jeff was so hot. Yeah, iTunes reviews.
So we have one for the month of August, even though I know it's September.
Yeah.
So this was on August 26, 2015. It's the title, Fave After Show for My Fave TV Show. By K, Cher, and then ESE. I love watching the SAB After Show. I love your take on what's happening and your predictions. I missed you over the summer.
Oh, we missed
5 stars,
everybody.
by the way.
Well, obviously.
So much love.
Guys,
5 stars, baby.
Yeah, a 5-star review means you like us. A 4-star review means you don't. The other stars don't work. I don't know if you're aware of this. 1 through 3 do not work, guys. Don't even try it.
Don't even try
Yeah,
it.
it's not worth your time. All right. It's true. I discovered that for you. Let's talk about Melody. So Melody's getting all the flack about what happened to Bae, which again, she's not a student, right? So like the parents that are angry are like, this could happen to any of our students. No, it could happen to any stranger who shows up on your campus. Like, that's what it is. And they think that another school is going to be safer, and they think that another school across, like, that's in a different state is going to be safer for your child.
I always
Further
feel like
away.
parents, though, are just
Stupid.
dramatic.
Yeah, they're so paranoid. I feel
Yeah.
like it's because they're not there.
Exactly.
Did you guys go to school away from, like, far from home?
Like an hour.
Oh, I went like far airplane away.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, you're from Colorado, came out
Yeah.
here. Okay. Yeah, I was only an hour away, but my parents didn't care. But you think about, like, high school and, you know, small communities and stuff like that, and this is a small community school, you know what I mean? It's still, because it's still local. It's,
Yeah.
you know, parents, and this is awful to say, and it's not like this everywhere, but parents don't really have that much better to do than over worry about their children in the community that they're in, that they end up caring so much more than the students who are involved, and then make everything so much more dramatic, and then the children have to deal with that generally.
Clearly, we're not parents.
Right. That's the thing. Is like I'm not a parent. I don't know how that feels having a child. But at the same time, I totally, you know, took Melody's side. Like you can't always protect them, and it's better to teach them how to defend themselves
Right.
and how
Right.
to, you know, not live in fear than to always be running because you can't run forever.
Exactly.
You really can't.
And now they've made this situation about Melody and this older woman's career that is was only trying to help these students.
Right.
Like
Right.
it seems like unnecessary drama that these parents in this storyline have created.
Agreed. I think also like it's not like things like this don't happen at the other schools.
Exactly.
And
Right.
and I hate to say this because you guys can Google it, but Gallaudet is not a school where sexual assault does not occur.
Right.
That is not a thing.
Well, which I'm actually with the topic going on with Travis. It makes me wonder actually what their stats are at that school with rape.
So I feel like, and this, I don't remember why, but I feel like I did look that up, and it may have been an SVU episode. That's quite likely.
That's funny.
About Gallaudet specifically. It may have been last season, though,
I
when we
think it
talked
was
about
last
this.
season because I remember us talking about our schools and this school.
Yeah.
And the ratings with rape.
Right. And so I feel like sexual assault does occur at all schools,
Yeah.
Yeah. All schools, big, small.
Yeah.
private, public.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we live in this world,
Gosh,
guys.
what kind of world do we live in?
A really scary
Messed
one.
up
One where you can take your child out of your school and take them to a different one mid-semester.
Right. And no repercussions.
So the reason this affects Melody, aside from the fact that they want her fired, is that this parent had the money and they need the money, which takes us to the Kennish family funding. All right, so here are the things we've spent money on this episode alone. So we've given $50,000 to the program. John's car needs to be fixed. Melody's program. Daphne lost her scholarship and needs tuition money. And Catherine wants to produce her own show for $30,000, which was really a low number when she was like, "Oh, it's kind of expensive. It's $30,000." I was like, I think it's a lot more than that
Well,
to like rent a theater and rehearsal
it
space and pay
depends
the
the
actors.
level she wants to do it at. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, lady, you don't... Because honestly, she doesn't even need that if she wants to do it on a smaller scale. It's because she wants to do Broadway. I'm like, calm down.
Do a small show.
You're not a playwright. You've never done this before.
Right.
Right.
You've never written a score. I'm like, set the bar a little bit lower first go round.
Yeah, and it's just that I think she thinks she's doing this big thing, and I thought she was going to say 300,000.
Yeah, because 30,000 is kind of low. Did she say how long a run that she wants?
It's probably one night.
Right.
Maybe
it's
price.
one night.
Yeah.
If it's one
night, that makes sense. Like just a premiere
Yeah.
opening night.
Yeah, right? I'm sorry, but sometimes this whole storyline with the musical is laughable to me sometimes. I'm like, what are you doing, Catherine?
It's a midlife crisis.
My problem
is.
It totally is. My problem though is that John's not going to. He's not saying anything.
You know, it's so interesting because I feel like when you never have money problems, it's like really a bigger deal. Like to us, we're like, just say you don't have the money. Oh, I don't know if you guys have money, but like, just say you don't have the money.
Clearly, we have money.
But like, if you like never really had to tell your wife, like, hold up the budget, that is actually a huge deal.
Yeah, it is.
But like, there's a problem. You're a family. You need to have a discussion.
Absolutely.
You can't just let her throw money around. Because at this point, she is. Did we have a chat roll comment?
69B said a Kennish garage sale needs to happen now, and
Yes.
D Grant says I loved John's reaction. No. That's all it says there.
I was thinking about that as well, and I was like, his car is broken. Great. So sell your cars. You have fancy cars.
Yep.
And he was like,
definitely say
especially when he gives over the check to the to his accountant guy, he's like, I can't liquidate anything else. I'm like, yeah, you can.
You got a lot to liquidate.
You got a lot. There's only 3 of you living in that giant house, and Regina in the back. Like, you could get a smaller place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because John's character, I feel like so much that defines him is his money. Mm-hmm. And so it is understandable as to why he doesn't want to speak up about it, because this is like his one role in the family. Like, we've talked about it so many times that he's like not the best dad. He's only had glimmering moments of hope with like Bae when everything has gone wrong with her in relationships and everything, that he's like been a real caring, loving dad. But aside from that, it's like, good job, kids. You know what I mean?
Have a check.
Yeah. And that's about it. So I feel like this probably is, I think it'll take a while for him to speak up about it until somebody brings it up to Catherine.
When the check bounces.
Right. Yep. Which is going to be worse.
Yep.
I wish that he had said, like, that because she donated the money, they're like, well, I guess that means we can't do the musical. Like, let her know that she can't have both.
Yes.
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Nicole and Amy said he could have another heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
True statement. This could cause that.
Wait, we already lost Angelo. I can't lose another Dilf on the show. Guys, I cannot lose another one.
It won't happen. They can't kill him
They
off.
can't.
Okay.
They can't.
Because everyone knows how much I love DW.
I know it. He won't be going anywhere because you couldn't fill that void if he was gone. Not that, but because Angela was like in and out.
Yeah.
John Kennish is the man of the entire show. You know what I mean? They can't.
I mean,
be
we
gone.
do have Terrell.
But Terrell, which
Another
we didn't,
Dilf.
yeah, who we didn't see tonight. But I mean, like we're concerned a little bit as to where he's going or what he's doing.
We saw him for a minute.
Did we?
Yeah, when they spoke Spanish and got coffee.
Right. Sweet second. Bye-bye.
Yeah. You want coffee? That's it. Okay.
Great.
So that's what's going on with Melody. Because last time we were like, every time the accountant showed up, we were like,
And I did that again watching it. This time, I had to come and ask you the minute, like right when the show was over, what happened with that? Because like I cannot.
This is how you know we don't have money.
Exactly.
We're like, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Right.
I won't listen. I have no idea.
Someone relates to that.
Yeah, I can't do money talk. The minute anybody brings up money in any aspect of my life, I'm like, okay, conversation over.
Well, it's $2, $2 million.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't care.
It's the same thing. All right. We still need to touch upon Lily and Toby. Lily reveals that she's pregnant, but of course, I was so right that Toby would react badly and she wouldn't get the second part of the news out.
Yeah, but okay, but when we talked about that and him reacting badly in the way that they had shown it in the preview or whatever for this week's, I watching the episode, I didn't necessarily think that he reacted
That
badly.
bad, yeah.
I just thought that he reacted shocked and in denial because they did break up because he thought she wanted to be with somebody else. So as a guy, you have to ask, is it mine? Like, I totally get him doing that.
Yeah.
I get it,
as much as it's an awful feeling for her because she wasn't with anybody else.
Right.
He doesn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, they've been broken up.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was awful. And aside from him saying that, he said nothing. He literally just stood there in shock.
Yeah, which is handling it badly.
Yeah.
I mean, that said, he's 20, 21.
Yeah, he's
you just told him you're having his baby. Like, yeah, I would expect him to react like that.
That's that's intense. Like, that's a lot.
He didn't cry, so I think he did a good job.
So then we get the truth. He gets the other half of the news, and we find out. So we had asked last week about isn't she a little too early to get tested, and like why did she get tested and whatever. And she says that her brother has a genetic disorder, and that the doctor offered it, which is why she was like, yeah, this might be a good idea. So that was that answered our questions, and then we have this. The whole episode between them was just an emotional discussion about what to do.
That poor girl's been crying in every scene. I feel so bad for her. That has to be tough.
She's
doing
amazing.
a really, really
really good job.
Yeah, she really is. I don't know. I thought that it's just a crazy topic for them to be bringing up.
Such a crazy topic.
Yeah, and it's not even just with the baby having Down syndrome, but then I thought it was a very real conversation, and I'm glad that they showed it. Mm-hmm. Toby bringing up, all of this aside, us on a relationship level and where we're at in life, this may not be a great idea for us.
Yeah.
And I think that's always a discussion that happens in any young relationship that is not committed and you find out you're pregnant. That's always a conversation that happens. But then on top of that, for them to know that this child does have Down syndrome just throws an extra wrench in it because, this is not necessarily my opinion or whatnot, and this is like up for debate and everybody feels different, but that adds an extra layer of an emotional anxiety and knowing that you potentially may not only getting rid of a child but getting rid of a special needs child. Mm-hmm. And that's I can't my mind can't even wrap around that emotional level and those feelings and thoughts that they must be having.
Right. And it's crazy, though, that this is actually an issue that a lot of people are facing now is because of technology. Like,
it's true.
A lot more people than we even think about have actually had this situation happen where they know before, you know.
And there is a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's tough, and I do like that Toby brought it up, and I thought it was interesting, Toby's opinion, Lily's opinion, and Daphne's opinion on giving it up because all coming from different points of view. And what am I trying to say? That, like, Toby, I fear that with Daphne wants them to keep it because she feels like she was different. Mm-hmm. And Lily is on the fence either way because she's carrying this child. She just doesn't want to give up the child, and she has a brother who has Down syndrome, but she also is not ready for a child. Toby wants to give it up because they're just not ready. But I think it's just interesting the way that people feel that they have some sort of claim or responsibility to keep a child simply because they may be special needs, rather than if the child wasn't special needs, they probably would have already decided that they weren't having it, which I think is interesting.
It is an interesting conversation.
Right.
Do you have something you want to add?
No, go ahead.
It's such a... This show went from like here's a story to here are topics that need to be discussed and that are very rarely touched upon on television, especially on a teenage, air quotes on that, drama. Right. So to bring it up is amazing.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I think that at the end when Toby says to Daphne, it will ruin my life, and she says, no, it'll change your life.
Yeah.
I understand the life that he thinks he has or that he thinks he wants. This life of him being, a DJ, living alone, not going to school, being a free spirit, that life will not exist if they keep this baby.
Right.
So that life, I would say, is ruined. Not that his life is ruined, that the life he thinks that he wants and is having will be ruined.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement. Yes.
U69 Bees wants to know if you guys think they're going to keep the baby or not.
I want to touch on that in predictions.
Okay.
I'm going to hold on to that into predictions, which I guess we might as well just go into.
Yeah, I guess on this one.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
So it looks like in the trailer for next episode, it's all about Toby's decision and how the family is handling it.
Good.
So, we have everyone's opinions and reactions. I think that his mother is going to tell him that he should keep it. His father is going to tell him that he should not, aside from the fact that Toby should not be raising a child, let alone a child with special needs. But also, I think John is dealing with a financial situation, which, this is going to sound awful, and I'm going to say it anyway, this child will be a financial burden.
It will.
And it will be John's.
And it will be John's financial burden.
It will be his.
It's crazy.
So, and I think that Bae and Daphne, and I'm going to sound horrible again, and Catherine are going to be very emotional about it and not think about it rationally. And Toby is thinking about it rationally, and John is thinking about it with his wallet.
Yes. I agree.
And
with
maybe
you.
a little rationally.
Yeah.
Opinions.
You go ahead.
Yeah,
Wait,
predictions.
So predictions. Well, I
Because you
am
know
actually
things, don't you?
No.
Nicole in the chat says Toby could be a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, because that's what he's going to do.
Right. Toby. He could, technically.
No, he could, yes. He just
very well
won't.
could, but I just love, though, you didn't really see Lily at the end, you know? So, I mean, it's like you don't know.
Where she stands on
Because,
it.
you know, a lot of times couples will have conversations and the girl goes off by herself and
Does her own thing.
does her own thing. I don't know. So I'm interested to see if she actually does go through with it or if she decides to do something by herself.
Interesting.
I think that'd be interesting for them to do something
Yeah.
like that. I actually do think they will have it. Only because if they're going to bring the entire family into the situation and do like a whole episode based on their opinions, I think it's a storyline that they're committing to of them having the child. Just so we can like see the whole road with the whole family and how everybody responds and everything. I think if they were doing abortion, they wouldn't bring the whole family into it, and then that would be a storyline that they would uncover throughout the season.
I see.
Reveal it to
You're,
everyone.
you're thinking of it in terms of like a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Love
like,
it.
take it out. TV show. I know what you're doing. No, I'm just kidding. But if they don't, then it could be something like that because that does create a different storyline, her handling it on her own.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually a cool idea too. But I think either way, the fact that they've even touched on these topics and doing a whole episode about it, they can't lose on whatever decision the show decides to go on. Because either way, they're dealing with the topic of having, young parents who aren't committed to each other and a
Child with special needs.
Yeah, child of special needs, or dealing with the after effects of
an
abortion.
Yeah. We have chat roll prediction?
No, we have 2 questions.
Oh, 2 questions.
Pretty Little Obsession says, do you think Tank will come back?
I think not this season.
I don't think he will either. I think we'll see him towards the end, maybe for like one episode as like, this is what's going on in my life, and it's still not great. Thanks, Bae.
Oh, I was thinking
I
think he'll come back and do like, once she gets things settled or like figured out, he'll come back and it'll like disrupt everything again.
You think?
Yeah.
Second question. Could Bae's sister elope with Mango by season's end? Question mark.
Dingo elope? No.
No.
That's not heading to weddings.
Nope.
I predict that Felicity will return.
They gotta keep you in Spanish class, girl.
Yeah, first
so
off,
much happening.
we gotta learn Español, guys. And
And Bae definitely needs to learn.
yeah, she does. And I think we have a new Vimla, and I think I'm like dead serious. I think we're gonna have a new Mean Girl, and that's gonna be real fun.
Yeah, there will
really
absolutely be a new Mean Girl.
Oh, could you imagine if Felicity and Vimla met?
Oh my gosh.
that would be
A
great.
new posse formed.
Oh,
You actually should just meet that actress. She is so sweet. You guys would actually really get along.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I need to.
That's my prediction. Last one.
Bisma says, will Emmett return soon? Question mark.
I think we'll see him in the
a
next
couple
few episodes.
episodes,
He
Yeah.
has to come back soon.
Yeah.
There will be like a phone conversation or something
of
with
course.
him.
Guys, thank you so much. Thank you to Alexis, our voice of the chat room.
Aw, thanks, guys.
Who will be with us hopefully every week.
Yeah.
We'll be back at our normal time at 5 p.m. Right?
Yes.
That's our normal time?
Yes.
On Tuesdays. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Why don't you tell people again where they can find you on Twitter and Instagram and wherever else?
Awesome. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Yael Weaver.
Awesome.
And I do have a website, www.michelleweaver with one L.
Awesome. Thank you. Hannah.
Yeah, you all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @thehotshotdude.
Alexis, do you want to tell them where they can find you?
Sure, you can find me all over social media and listen to my voice at atorres890.
Love it. And you can find me online at yael.tv. That's yael.tv. Also, if you know anybody that you want to send my video to, it's on my YouTube at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And they can email me at tv.yael@gmail.com. And we will see you next week for more Switched at Birth.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.